Hey everybody, it's Cindy here, and today I want to talk to you about vulnerability. Vulnerability. So let's start out with the official definition of vulnerability and go from there. The dictionary says that vulnerability is a noun and it means the quality or state of being exposed to the possibility of being attacked or harmed either physically or emotionally. Okay, the quality of or state of being exposed to the possibility of being attacked or harmed physically or emotionally. Vulnerability. Okay, so why am I bringing up this word? Well, I want you to check out, if you haven't already, the TED Talk that Brené Brown gave on the power of vulnerability 7 years ago. Brené Brown, B-R-E-N-E, Brown. She's a social scientist who researched this, gave this beautiful 20-minute talk on vulnerability, and of course has since become wildly national best-selling author and all kinds of things, on and on and on. But her work on vulnerability really, really put her on the map and speaks deeply to my heart, because what she found and what she shares in that I want you to buy into or consider at least, is that we as humans all want connection, right? That's one of our human desires, is to feel connected in this world that we're living in, connected to other people, connected to organizations or activities that are meaningful to us. We want to feel a part of things. But what she found is in order to feel connected, to reach that feeling in our lives, we have to be willing to be vulnerable, emotionally vulnerable. Okay? So if you are starving for connection in your life, in relationships, you want to feel closer to other people, but you're constantly putting walls up and not letting people really know you or know what you really think about things or what you really feel about things or what's important to you on the inside, it's not going to happen. That's why it's not working, right? So for relationships to be healthy and thrive, we have to be willing to be vulnerable and let our guards down and share our true self. You know, authenticity is the best currency in relationships. Authenticity, being real, being who you really, really are. That's part of why when I'm talking with you, when you see me live or when I'm creating these video blogs, when I make mistakes or what we might call mistakes or flub up or forget something or sneeze or, whatever, I just generally keep going, because I'm not trying to model perfection here, which I'm sure is very clear to all of you by now who know me. I'm trying to be real. I'm trying to be the real gal that I am, Cindy Whitmer. That's who I am. So I show up as me, being like myself, whether you like it or not, whether it works for you or not. This is who's coming to you. See this hair back here? There's a model of imperfection right there. Hair sticking out. Okay. So let's get on to this of what's important. So here's what happens. Okay, what I've taught, helped people be aware, my clients for the last 30 years, coaching clients, counseling clients, is when you're drinking yourselves numb, when you're eating food to cope emotionally, when you're spending money you don't have repeatedly to make yourself feel better, or you think it's going to make yourself feel better, when you're doing any of these excessive things, you are avoiding vulnerability. You're avoiding emotional connection. You're avoiding even connecting with yourself on what's actually going on in your life. You're avoiding it. You're numbing yourself or distracting yourself from what's really going on with you. And you will never be happier or healthier going that route. Not ever. So this is critical for us to do. It's critical for us to be willing to say, yeah, dang it, I'm not perfect, and now I'm going through this, and I don't know what to do, and I'm feeling all like a mess today, and that kind of thing. Wow, don't you appreciate that when somebody in your life is willing to say that to you instead of acting like they are walking around with it all going on all the time. Now, here's the thing. We can be confident women and function very, very well in all the areas of our life that we function and be vulnerable. Because vulnerability, although at the time we feel vulnerable and we're sharing something really that maybe we feel shame about, or maybe we feel, uncomfortable about ourselves or whatever, at the same time that we're doing that, and it feels like it's a weakness, it's actually a strength. It's actually shows tremendous emotional strength. So if you think you're being weak, guess what? You're not. Okay? It's not. So awesome, right? So I have a couple examples of when I felt particularly vulnerable, and there's many throughout my life, of course, but there's a couple that I thought I'd share today. And one is what a lot of you can relate to, when I took my daughter off to college, right? Okay. So I raised this kid in the Midwest, and she decides to go to college in New York State. That darn brat of mine. Okay, so I knew I was going to miss her. I was, kind of dreading taking her to college, the whole thing, drove her out there. Our family got her all unloaded, unpacked, got the dorm room all squared away, met the roommates, met the roommates' parents, did the whole thing, went to parent orientation, did the whole thing. And then it was time to say goodbye. It was the hour they said, okay, parents, you got to go. Families, get off campus now because freshman orientation starts. You got to get out of the way, right? Okay, so I'll back up just a second. Okay, I think this is a funny story. So here's some entertainment for you in my vulnerable moments in life. Okay, so we're unpacking her dorm, right? We're unpacking all these boxes, and I'm shaking, because I'm upset. I know I've told my daughter goodbye in a couple hours, or whatever, and I'm like emotionally overwhelmed, but I'm helping her get settled in, task oriented, and then I think to myself, oh my gosh, I'm about to leave my child at college. Did I teach her everything that she needed to know about life? Did I prepare her properly for this moment in her life? And I started getting all worked up about it. And so I talked to her. I pulled her aside and I said, Laura, have I taught you? Have I told you everything? Do you feel prepared? Have I taught you everything that you need to know to go out into the world now? And are you ready? Or is there anything else? Or I'm like almost panicking, right? And she turns to me and she says, well, Mom, if I think of any questions, can't I just call you? Yeah, you could do that. Yeah, that would work. I am just a phone call away. Right. We are going to speak again in life, right? Okay. So that's how much of a mess I was, right? But it got worse. Okay. So then we tell her goodbye a couple hours later when we had to be off campus, right? And I'm hugging her and I'm sobbing uncontrollably. And I'm saying, I'm so proud of you. I love you so much. I'm so proud of you. I love you so much. Enjoy your life. Blah, 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 blah. Crying. I'd rented this van to get her out there. All her crap out there. And I was the only name driver on the van. And my son and my ex-husband is in the van with me. And we're leaving campus and I can't see to drive because I have crocodile tears so large. And my ex-husband's in the passenger seat and I'm like, I need you to tell me if I'm going to hit anyone or run any lights because I cannot see. Which was ironic because, of course, we drove each other nuts when we were driving together when we were married and we couldn't stand to get feedback from the other driving. But now I'm, as his ex-wife, I'm begging him to tell me. Okay, so anyway, so I drop our son off and my ex-husband off at the train station because they're taking a train to get to the plane to get home, and I'm going to drive the van all the way back across the country myself. And when I dropped them off, I had to pull over into some parking lot and doubled over in physical pain. My gut hurt so bad from bleeding her. It was physical for me, and I cried my eyes out. Couldn't stop crying. Finally stopped enough. I could drive 3 blocks or whatever it was to my hotel, maybe a mile. Stay the night. Didn't go out for dinner. Couldn't do it. Just couldn't do it. I was just flattened emotionally by this. Then drove for 20 hours, the next couple days, 22, 25 hours, whatever it was to get home. Got home. Luckily had a couple more days off work that I'd planned for. And I was on the couch. I got up upstairs. Her room is across from my room. And I saw her empty room. And oh my Lord, I flopped on her bed and cried some more. Spent a couple days basically just functioning barely in my sweats, on the couch, whatever. And just let myself feel it. Just let myself feel it. And a friend of mine called me to check on me. Her name's Teresa. Teresa, I have several Teresas in my life. This was Teresa in Seattle, Teresa. And she called me and said, how's it going? How's it going? Being back from taking Laura to college. And I said, I'll tell you the truth. I haven't gotten dressed. I'm not showered. I cried. I don't know what to do. I don't have to go back to work for a couple days. I don't know what to do. And she said, okay, it's okay. You're going to be okay. And she said, how about you get up, get dressed, get showered, get dressed, get in your car, drive to the nearest bookstore, which happened to be 45 minutes away from my house where I used to live. Not now, but where I used to live. And get some Wayne Dyer or Louise Hay books and read those. Just read those. Just read the rest of the day. Relax. It's okay. You're going to be fine. And let me know how it goes. And, she inspired me. I did. I got up. I did exactly that. And I went and got these people's a couple books, one of Wayne Dyer and one of Louise Hay or whatever. And that completely turned me around. And I fell in love with the work of Louise Hay and Wayne Dyer. Fell in love with it. And I have used their work to transform my life in the last few years, even more than I was already at that point, and to help other people transform their lives over and over and over and over and over again. So the fact that I was willing, now I'm a high achieving, I'm one of those people, type A, high achieving. I do like to have it all together. I'm one of those, I do like to have it all together, but I was willing to admit to this close friend of mine, and I'm willing to admit to all 1,200 of you, that I was flattened taking this kid to college. I just could hardly believe it. I could hardly deal with it. I couldn't believe how emotional I was about it and how hard it was for me to get through that. But because I was willing to admit it and be vulnerable and say, yeah, I'm not handling this well at all. I'm not even really getting dressed. I'm not really doing anything right now. My friend was able to say, hey, you're okay. Here I am. She was right with me. She was 2,000 or 1,500 miles away, but she was right with me on the phone. Listened to me, let me cry it out. She understood in a lot of ways because her kids were gone at that point too. Her nest was empty, and gave me some suggestions, knew me well enough, and really supported me in movement and beginning to shift from it. So when we were talking recently about feeling limited or being stuck, she helped me by choosing to be vulnerable and being really honest about where I was in my life. I was able to receive connection, receive and create greater connection between a friend and I, and receive from that connection, receive, so I could find the strength emotionally to shift in that way. And not only did it shift me that day, what I'm telling you is this work that she introduced to me has shifted my life in so many ways, personally and professionally. And there's been a ripple effect that's amazing. And so, I've gone on long enough now. This one story is enough for now about vulnerability. I think it really illustrates the importance of vulnerability. Because what would have happened to me if I didn't share how bad I actually felt? Well, a couple days later, I would have had to, put on the professional dress and march on into work to go be the director of the counseling center and work with my clients and muster up whatever I could to pull that off as well as I could, even though underneath it was all this grief and loss and sadness. But because and kind of faking it till I made it kind of thing. But instead, I got it out of my system. I cried for days. I cried in the van. I cried in the hotel. I cried at home. I cried to my friend. I was listened to. I got support and did what I could to shift myself. But it required me to be vulnerable. It required me to say, I'm not doing well. I need help right now. I need help right now. So please, go listen to Brené Brown's The Power of Vulnerability on YouTube, okay? Go listen to it and ask yourself, what am I hiding? How am I shaming myself so much that I'm not allowing myself to be open and vulnerable and receive and connect and receive? Because the other thing is that when you're real, people love real people. People are drawn to people who are real and who are willing to be themselves. That authenticity, again, it makes our relationships so rich and wonderful in life. So please go be real. Be honest with yourself. It's okay. The beginning of your life, the rest of your life will be when you can say, hey, it's not always pretty with me. It's not always easy. It's not always pretty. Here's what's really going on with me. Help me, please. Support me. Listen to me. Offer me some suggestions, whatever it is. So, and in that vulnerability, if you want a coach who's been there herself, here I am. Say no more. Let's get on the phone and get you started. What are you waiting for? You have a life to live. We're not getting any younger any minute of the day. And you can have everything. This group is called You Can Have It All. I'm not kidding. You can. And I can help you get there. So schedule a breakthrough call with me. Don't worry about obligation. I might invite you to join one of my coaching programs. I might not, actually. I don't. Not everybody I talk to. And nor does everybody want to work with me. But boy, if you do want to work with me, and I think we have potential in working together, then let's not miss that chance. And in December, I've got some nice holiday prices going on. So don't wait. Don't wait. It's not going to get cheaper. It's, your life's waiting for you. Let's get started. So anyway, enough of that. Have a great day. Bye.